ready to have a little bit of fun and talk about increasing your sales, getting your marketing on point, and really wrapping up this whole quarter with a great big kaboom to everything that you've been doing all year long. And if you're ready for some fun, we're going to dig into that today. So if you happen to join me live, let me know where you are tuning in from. I am in the beautiful state of Michigan where we are having all sorts of weather spikes, dips into the lows and the highs. So I don't know what season it is, but nonetheless, today is a beautiful day. And today, I'm hoping that you think it's an amazing day after we get done with this presentation that's focused on helping you kind of adjust your mindset a little bit into ways that you can really bring your marketing to this new world that we are experiencing in the digital realm and making your marketing more impactful, reducing your workload, and also I think just having a general idea of where things are at in 2024 and where they're going in 2025 because it's a lot different than it was in 2020. Things have changed dramatically with technology and the way that we operate. It's important to sometimes take a step back and really look at like the history of things and then come back front and center to figure out, well, where are we at and where are we going? So hello, fabulous Shayna Melissa Stockman from New York. I hope you're having a great day. And if Joanne comes by too, it's good to see you ladies. So this is going to be a fun one. I hope that you enjoy this little presentation I put together for you. It's a little bit different than maybe some of the things that we've done in the past, but sometimes you got to spice it up a little bit, right? But ultimately, everything that we're going to talk about, it comes back to ways to boost your sales. But sometimes you got to put your thinking cap on a little bit differently. And that's what we're aiming to do here today, folks. But I was working on this presentation and I kind of took a little walk down memory lane. And I'm curious, I don't know if this is a Detroit thing or if it was all over the United States, but on Saturday mornings in the 70s when I grew up, Bill Kennedy would always come on. Actually, it was in the afternoons. I had skating in the morning, afternoon, and late afternoon. Bill Kennedy was on, and he always had his classic movies that he put out there. So, watching Shirley Temple, watching my biggest crush I ever had, Cary Grant, and even those classic dance black and white movies, Fred Astaire. Who remembers all the Fred Astaire stuff? I love that. All the dancing, and it was beautiful. And it's amazing what we can learn when we look back on legends and the way things were done in the past so we can learn how to adapt and get wrong slide. Wrong slide. So, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when it comes to your marketing and your business structure, it's going to be important for you to really get comfortable with embracing change. It could be in the strategy that you've always used at work or technology that you've used and it's maybe not working like it used to. Well, the truth is change is constant and there's a lot that we can learn right now where we're at from history and dance. And I think that some of you may not know this, but when I was younger, I used to do competitive skating. So I had a partner. We did dance skating. I made it to nationals. So for a great part of my life, at age 5, I started skating, and I was in competitive skating until like about 15, just short of 16. And it took up a lot of my time. So I had school and work, and then every day there was something for skate, whether it was gymnastics, stretching, skating. It was nonstop. It became a core part of my life. And I learned things that are simple principles that I still apply to my life today. And I know that sometimes we kind of get stuck in our own little bubble, and it's important to maybe learn from other people's perspectives, right? And I think that we can learn something with a little stroll down dance lane. And I want to talk to you about Fred Astaire. How many of you know Fred Astaire? If you know Fred Astaire, drop it in the comments. It's kind of like a classic name. A lot of us know Ginger Rogers, Fred Astaire, all the smooth, romantic, gliding dancing. And there was a gentleman who was really inspired later by Fred Astaire. And you might not know his name, but I'm going to tell you in a little bit. You're definitely going to know his dance moves. And his name was Bob Fosse. And although Bob Fosse was inspired by Fred Astaire, he took a totally different spin on his inspiration. So if you go back and look, like after this, if you want to go back and look at some old video clips, you'll notice that Fred Astaire, like when he was dancing, it was very outward and graceful and this beautiful flow with his movement, with him and his partner, but he was always stretching out. And Bob Fosse, he had sort of the same classic foundation, but he came real inward and he was very structured with the way that he would do his dance moves. Even though it was inspired by Fred Astaire, it was totally different. It was more precise, it was more powerful, it was more seductive. And all of these things have an impact on the way that their same dance style was totally different. Same as dancing, but totally different style. And some of the things that I want you to maybe consider when looking at this little analogy I'm giving you for dancing is, what we can learn from Bob Fosse right now are simple things on how he would do these precise moves. And he would do things that were similar to Fred Astaire, but a total contrast. So it was different. It was unexpected. People were like, what? What? That people don't move like that, especially dancers. But he didn't go and reinvent the wheel. He didn't try to come up with something totally different. He took something that was a classic from a legend and he built on it and he adapted it and he made it into his own where it's recognizable when you see Fosse moves. And I'm going to show you some in a few minutes. You're going to say, get out of here. I didn't know that. Maybe you'll say that. But I think his thing is his style was about being authentic. So he took what he had learned from these great masters like Fred Astaire and he put literally his own spin on it or his own snap on it and made it his, a little bit groovy, a little bit funky. And this is his transition when we're going from like 40s, 50s, glamorous Hollywood, transitioning into like this 50s, 60s, almost like the entry into like that hippie kind of movement, the very beginning, right? So, some examples of legends that that did Fosse moves, these are just a glimpse of them. Michael Jackson, 100%. It's a Bob Fosse move. It was in a old filming, I think it was called The Little Prince. And it's literally, if you go look at Michael Jackson moves, he took them all. All of those were Bob Fosse moves. All the single ladies, Beyonce, you guys have been seeing that thing and the girls dancing like that. If you go back and look, they actually stole that whole choreography. They barely even readapted it. It was Bob Fosse. Jazz hands. You've heard the figure of speech, jazz hands? That's Bob Fosse. And then the movie, All That Jazz, he didn't do that, but he was inspired by that and he went and did the play All That Jazz. So he ended up doing the play All That Jazz. It was inspired by the song All That Jazz. And then even Austin Powers with his little swanky, baby. Bob Fosse. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is as we make these changes in between technology, automation, AI, new strategies, new this, new that, you can literally feel like you're going bonkers after a little while. But what you really need to do is get to this place where you realize you don't have to reinvent it all. It's about trying inspiration from legends that have proven themselves with their talent and finding out how can you draw inspiration. How can you apply that to what it is that you're doing in your own authentic way? Now, Bob Fosse didn't go and reinvent everything. He took core foundation from legends like Fred Astaire, adapted it, and then he became a legend that inspired Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Austin Powers. And that's just literally like the tip of the iceberg. So if you get a chance, go watch some of those clips. It's kind of fun and it could be a little bit inspirational, but it's about realizing, just get inspired, build in your own personalization to your business plan, but don't reinvent the wheel. And if you do that, you're going to find yourself in a sweet spot with a lot of groundwork already done for you. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Elizabeth Morosco. It's nice to meet you. And I've been an entrepreneur for over 18 years, and I've worked in events and marketing for 30 years. My background started with Ford Motor Company. I was there for a decade. Eventually, ventured off, started my own company, and here I am still helping people with their events and marketing. And so many things that have changed. Like 20 years ago, there wasn't anything called, live streaming, content creation. That was like something of the news. But we've evolved and we keep growing and keep building onto that skill set. It's a key part of 2024 and 2025 is making sure that your skill set's up to date and you know exactly how to navigate these waters. All right, so just so I don't just tell you, hey, I've been in business for 2 decades and I know what I'm doing. No, literally, I've been in business for 2 decades. I've owned multiple businesses, some of them that were smash hits and some of them that weren't. And along the journey, I've learned a lot. So, over the course of time, I have owned a bridal boutique. I produced major events, including my own events. I used to do a show called Big Fat Genesee Wedding. And this particular one, this was in 2025. We had brides that would come in and compete for a wedding. We did a $40,000 wedding giveaway. I was able to really cultivate relationships with the media to learn how to bring attention to my clients, not only through my own channels, but others. And then even moving through there, I was doing so many events. We were growing and booming. I had a small entertainment group that provided incredible entertainment, aerial acrobatics, fire eaters, stilt walkers. It was an amazing time. We were incredibly busy. I was doing a lot of private parties for, executive level people here in Michigan, events for well known musicians, the Red Wings, a whole bunch of different people. And life was busy and great. And I was always on the go while raising my two boys, and life was nonstop. And then my husband got sick, and I had to make changes because I couldn't be gone all the time. So I started a company called, or a magazine called Kudos Magazine, which is focused on healthy, happy living. And we've been publishing that since 2013. After COVID, we had to switch to digital, yada, yada, yada. Just like you probably had to make some adjustments, right? It's a part of life. But it led to new opportunity. I ended up learning how to do podcasting, live streaming. Before we do a lot of the interviews either in person or over the phone, and we couldn't do any more of the in person content. People were, what was happening in 2020? It was mayhem. So I ended up learning more on live streaming and I discovered the true power of video. And since then, I really haven't looked back other than to say, what else can I learn and grow from? But the key part is understanding your journey as a small business owner or an entrepreneur. It's really about baby steps that accumulate over time. And we can become very hard on ourselves when several baby steps over time don't lead to a quantum leap. But you've got to be persistent and consistent to be able to get there. And today I'm going to share with you some helpful little strategies to help you get on track so you can rock out the rest of 2024. So the big thing that I'm really hoping that you can take away from this little live stream that we're doing here today is the willingness to evolve. It is the key for life, for anything, your personal life, your professional life, your business. But if you don't learn how to define your personal journey and manage it, it'll manage you. So don't get into a spot where you do what everyone else is doing just because they're doing it and you don't understand your vision. Just like the example I was giving you of Bob Fosse. He took something that was a foundation structure of dancing and he revamped it strictly by from going out like these flowy kind of movements like Fred Astaire, these flowy movements, and he brought it in. He was making it kind of snappy. And why this that analogy is actually really relative today is back in 2020, we were reaching for everything that we could to either engage our brains, our clients, or figure out like how to make it through the COVID shuffle, right? But now we're in this spot that we've had an opportunity to ferment with what are the pieces of technology we're using? What are the strategies we're using? And if you just stay there in the flow of it, you don't analyze what's working and what's not, you're not going to be able to get to these next levels. So, to level up, you can't always do exactly what you've done. You've got to find new ways to grow and to get your business out there. And and it doesn't have to be scary. We're going to talk about that because again, it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about fine tuning it and personalizing it for you. But so often, so many people do this. They're so guilty of this. They just focus on dumping a bunch of marketing content into places like LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, blah, 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 blah. But they don't even understand what is the purpose of it. And if you don't understand the purpose of it, you're not going to know how to really utilize something, right? So you got to understand the purpose of these. And this is a quick little sheet you can take a screenshot of if you want, that these are things that you can do relative to your marketing, and it shows you the reason why you would do it. So for instance, if you're looking for more exposure, doing some short videos, TikTok videos, Facebook reels, probably a smart idea. If you really want to educate and provide value for your online community, doing things like static post on your news feed, again, really smart idea. Or getting into storytelling, using live videos. Those each of these have a specific reason why you're doing it. If you're doing direct messages, that's about connecting or closing sales. And I think that if we can understand that and the importance of each of these roles, it can help us stay on task for our daily duties that we're doing. So you can't just post online and think that magically that's going to sell everything. That's not what it's about. It's a piece of it. Post enriched content that's great that people love, but then going back, building these relationships, networking with people, commenting on things that they have. Not everybody wants to come to your door. You got to go to their door sometimes too. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But these are things it's important to get comfortable with so you understand, hey, if I'm trying to find new people to come in, what are some things I should do? Probably posting reels, TikToks, and shorts would be smart, and probably going in and engaging with people in their online space, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even YouTube. How many times do you watch somebody's YouTube video and you don't even comment? Build that connection. These are real people. They're not static little slide sheets like I've got over here. Over here. You know what I mean? It's real people. So talk to them. And in fact, if you are here with me today, let me know really quick. I'm just curious. What is your favorite social media platform? Like if you had to pick out of all of them, what's the one that you're going to pick? I'm still a Facebook girl. I still am. And I really need to change that. I need to start doing some other social media, more consistently. But I like Facebook because of its ability to connect with people, post videos. There's so many benefits to Facebook, and I do really like that. But I think for 2025, I'm going to focus a little bit on YouTube because I just neglect it. So YouTube, here I come. This will be 2025 goal. All right, so let's dig back into this presentation. We've got a little bit of time left, and I appreciate you guys coming out on a Saturday to come hang out with me. You're a rock star. See, and those are the ones that are going to end up winning when you're not just like, let me just do a little bit of work. You're diving in and you're finding ways to improve yourself. So kudos to you. All right, so this is the short of it right here, like the online setup. I imagine you've heard of a lead magnet, but if you haven't, a lead magnet is something that you put out there so you can get somebody else's information in exchange, sort of like the appetizer at Sam's Club. So for your online strategy, though, it's important to understand these three steps: understanding the what, which is your offer. What's the offer you're going to put out there? I see a lot of people are trying to do like a whole bunch of them. Don't, just slow down unless you have a massive team. Just pick one at a time. And then the next step is the how. Like, how are you going to implement this strategy? And that could be anything from understanding where you're going to post, what you're going to say, all of the steps are going to be there, the emails, the graphics, like understanding what's the game plan inside and out, and being willing to adapt along the way. And then the last one is take action. But a lot of times I will see entrepreneurs that try to do all three at once, or they'll even try to take action. They'll try to do step three before they've even defined step one or two. And that becomes a formula for disaster. So understanding just these three things and defining them before you leave will help you really build momentum and success for any project that you're working on. So have your game plan and know what's going on. Be willing to adjust a little bit. So this is one of my favorite topics, and we're just going to touch on it really briefly because we're just here for a little while today. But video is awesome on itself. I love video. It's powerful. It's a way for people to communicate a really big message in a very condensed way. And it's a way to be able to connect, build authenticity, allow people to know you. But there's something even more powerful than video. Video really is a camouflage of the artist palette of having everything on one little video that you could need for your marketing. And part of that comes back to you understanding how are you going to use that video, one, when it goes out, when you produce it, and then two, post production. And we're going to dig into that for just a half a minute here. So understanding the powerhouse of video is going to be a game changer for businesses that haven't used it in the past. But understanding how to repurpose it, recycle, and repeat. So, doing some of these things could be as simple as taking one video clip, dividing it into multiple pieces of content. And I do this regularly for my clients. So, could you imagine doing a quick 20-minute video that can easily convert to a month worth of content? It can happen. It can happen, but you've got to have the game plan in place. And I help my clients do that. I help them turn a video into snippets, into articles, into pieces that can make their SEO richer without doing any more than the 20 minutes. Now, to me, that's a game changer. That's when you're able to take your time from looking at your social media content nonstop and your website nonstop to be able to shift your thinking into sales, customer connection, customer client relationships. If you get stuck in the trenches with nonsense that other people can do for you, you'll never be able to get to this higher part. But with AI and automation, you guys, we are in such an incredibly blessed time right now. With AI and automation, we're able to create content at speeds unthinkable compared to even 10 years ago. And I'm going to tell you, like when I started my business, we didn't have things like cell phones. I think they had the flip phones. There was no smartphones. So, I had, I think, 7 employees at the time. I had to bring in a phone grid onto into my studio so everybody could have their own phone line. There's thousands of dollars. I think it was like 5 grand for just the phone system. Not fun. We don't have to do that anymore. In the past, you'd have to hire a videographer to go shoot one of your commercials, and you'd be looking at $10,000, $15,000. You don't have to do that anymore. I mean, if you're somebody like Ford Motor Company and you've got a budget of $20 million, sure, go spend $100,000 on your video. But if you're a small business owner, and in fact, even if you are a Fortune 500 company, you need to be looking at what's happening with technology so you don't get lost or stuck in a loophole of paying something that's not necessary anymore. That's ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. Don't be blissful, be aware. So important. So, going back to this video concept, if you can take one video and convert it into a month long of content, and you spend maybe 20 minutes, doing your video, and let's say you spend another hour and a half, we'll say an hour and a half, coming up with all your content for your presentation. So if you could spend 2 hours a month doing all of your content that is super connected with your market and your voice, and not having, just a generic template of everybody else does it, so I'm going to do it. It's not the same. Just think of going back to if Bob Fosse would have just done exactly what Fred Astaire did. What would that mean to the entertainment that we see, to the dance that we see, that we take for granted? It's just there, just consume it. Think about it. If he didn't do that simple thing of going from like outward and stretching to like bringing it inward, it was a huge impact, and we're still seeing it today. And the same thing with your business. In 2020, it was outward, grab everything. Well, now we're in 2024, going into 25, half a decade later. Bring it in, bring it where it's precise, and you start fine tuning and creating something that you love, that resonates with your clients, because it's reflective of you, not something else somebody else did. That's why it's important for you as an entrepreneur to know your words that you're going to say, the things that you're going to express with your audience so you can connect with them. And if you do these simple things, you can find um, a little bit more joy. Oh, I'm just seeing the comments. It didn't scroll up, so I thought it was stuck on the last. Hey, how you doing? Hey, you guys, good to see you. Hey, Joanne, thanks for coming. Yes, jazz hands, jazz hands. And before that, a lot of times, like if you looked at ballerinas, go look at it. Their hands were always really tightly together. But he was like, "No, I'm out here." So anyhow, Shayna saying meme. Yeah. Oh yes. For those videos, it's a great way to even capture like memes that you can use, especially if you see somebody that's making a lot of comments on one thing that you're saying. Take note, see what's happening. Excuse me a second. It's that time of year, fall and spring. Excuse me. Whew. Okay. And I love your bubbly personality too, Shayna. She is like the queen of feel healthy and be happy. And in fact, if you haven't checked out her page, you should go over there, worldwellnessexpert.com. Shayna is one of my clients, but she's really helped me look at the way that I'm looking at my health and becoming more focused on key things that I need to do for my wellness. And it's helped me with my migraines. My migraines have been reduced by 95%, which is incredible. I'm so grateful. But I'm sure even with Shayna, if you go listen to her content, she talks a lot about her grandma, and her grandma taught her basics on holistic healing. Now she's taken it to a whole nother level. Same thing with you. So your business may not necessarily get inspiration from like another marketer or another person that's in your niche. It might be somebody that's in your family. We all have opportunities to get inspired for excellence and to improve on it, instead of just saying, well, I'm going to do this because it's cookie cutter and everybody else is saying that. Everybody else is doing that. It's like a rat race. Get off the rat race. Everybody's going north, go south. Do your version of what you're putting out there, not somebody else's version. Put your little spin on it. Joanne said a good choreographer should always include Bob Fosse moves. It's right. Yeah, because he's just so, full of life. Oh, Shayna said that she's going to be working on LinkedIn and Joanne Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, I think you're right, Shayna. I think the LinkedIn is a smart move. I don't know. I've been so hesitant of that. Joanne said Chat GPT and Gigi have become my best friends. I don't know what Gigi is. What's Gigi? Huh, I'm curious. And Joanne's always got a scoop. She's always got the inside scoop. She does a lot of moderation for a lot of the big time pages. Like I think she's done Tony Robbins. And so I love looking in my comments because I'm always learning stuff from my community. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Here, you get a little rock star. You're a rock star. Did that pop up? It might have not popped up. Okay, so there it goes. That's for you. You guys are rock stars. Okay. Yes, blessed to collaborate with you too. You have been a true inspiration. Oh, thanks, Shana. I couldn't have done it without you. Yeah, we keep learning and pushing with each other. And I think it's one of the beautiful things when you have the perfect connection with the people that you're working with that can push you to get into that spot. Because when we get into our own minds, we really can limit our thoughts on what we can do. And getting that inspiration and being around positive people, it's important. I know for me, it has been a game changer. And even being selective of, the clients that you work with or the things that you're doing so that you can be true to yourself. You know, I was recently sharing with somebody I had to turn down. It was a small project that was offered to me, and I'm abundantly grateful. I need business. I'm a small business owner, doing my thing. But when I looked at the project, it was like, that doesn't make a good connection for my personalized version of where I have my company. It didn't match my footprint. And even though I can swoop up stuff, I'm going to grab that, I'm going to grab that. Sometimes when you grab stuff that doesn't fit that model that you're going for, you drop all your marbles. So it's important to be crystal clear. Like on that slide I was showing you, the 3 steps, it's important to be crystal clear on what it is that you're offering, what you're providing, so that you don't get caught into this loophole of chasing stuff that doesn't belong to you and it's going to become a distraction. And as entrepreneurs and business owners, there's going to be so many distractions. It could be classes, workshops, training, a big promo that came up, a big idea that came up, a strategy somebody else is doing that's winning. You got to slow down and you've got to make sure, does this work with me short term and long term? And if you do that, you'll be able to, I think, make better decisions so you can become the exact version of the business that you're dreaming of. But you can't dream of, I want this goal, and then your actions are doing something else. So if Bob Fosse was saying, I want to do this new style. So like if you ever look at him, his knees generally were more inward, which is not a dancer form. But what did he do? He was like, okay, I'm going to take this is the way I naturally stand. And this is going to become the new look. And it was kind of awkward and weird looking, but it works. But if he would have done exactly like the other, it wouldn't have been the same. So, keep evolving, keep growing. All right, so let's get back on track. We are almost done. I'm going to go through these really quick, but this is another one. Maybe take a screenshot of this. Remember, when you go out there with that big idea and you have your lead magnet, don't just create it and sit on it. Don't do it. I don't care if it's a training, if it's a handout, if it's a whatever. You've got to go out and you've got to promote it. And whenever possible, if you can automate things, it'll make your life so much easier. And there's a lot of automation that you're probably missing out on. And you're like, oh, I got to do this every single day. But if you invested just a little bit of money in software, you could reclaim 4 hours a week for one task, 2 hours for another, 5 hours for another. And then before you know it, in a month, you've saved 80 hours or something crazy. Because I know some of you entrepreneurs are working more than your 8 hour day, huh? At least the ones that are serious, right? What 8 hour day? What are you talking about? Okay. So understanding automation can help you save a lot of time and money, I think is key as we move into 2024. So here's a couple things I'm going to show you really quick because I want this to be a value pack session. After you leave here, you're like, I learned something new. And you go implement it today. So here are a couple things for you to consider to optimize your personal page or your personal profile and your business page on Facebook. We're just sticking with the Facebook land today. Okay, so for starters, like if you look at your um, profile up in the banner, it's a great opportunity to get your comments in there. I mean, to get your latest promotion in there so people are seeing it. So, right up at the top of your Facebook page, that would be the first thing. If you have something big you're promoting, put it up there. Also, underneath the section that says, I think it's bio and intro, it's a great place for you to drop information, you guys. Having specific links in there, and also consider limiting some of your links. I know a lot of people will have, like 50 links on their profile, but if you're actually using your Facebook profile for a funnel, you want to you want to expose people to the links of where you're trying to take them. So they might not need to know unless you're trying to network with people from high school or college, or maybe there's some sort of affiliation with the college that it connects with your funnel. But look at ways that you can reduce it so that it just becomes really simple. Oh, there's only like 4 links here. Which one do I pick? Versus there's 20 links. You want it to be dummy proof so when somebody lands on your page where they know where to go. Also, this is another section a lot of people miss out on. The feature graphics section, which is sort of down below. If you look on the computer on a desktop, underneath your profile at the bottom, you'll see like where you have 3 profile photos or graphic photos that you can highlight. It's a wonderful place to put that. And then some of the things that you can do task wise is number one, daily post a Facebook story, and also weekly get into doing more of the Facebook reels. So that goes back to, I told you, multi-purposing that content from the video, creating little snippets. And then what we do? Automate it so it's automatically scheduled. Now you've got this marketing machine that's rolling instead of, oh, what am I going to post? What am I going to post? You've mapped it out. You did it in that 20-minute video and it's done. But you got to be smart. You got to be clever on the way you do that. And the other thing is too is adding just value related content. Make sure that you're not constantly just posting buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, or I'm so wonderful. Look at my testimonial. Put content in there that's personal, and you don't have to go too personal, but content in there that personally allows people to get to know you so they can know, like, and trust you, especially if you're doing this online. We've got a lot of layers that we have to go through. Well, like when we're going through this camera here, it's an energy zap. So if you're just like going through the motions and doing your thing, it's not going to pick up as much as if you have, vivacious story or something with some enthusiasm. It sucks and zaps that energy. So, start looking at your content in ways that you can put it out there in a planned way that can save you time and allow you to make a great impact specifically to your audience with your personalized message. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right. So let me see here. What what did she say? Joanne said I was going to make copies of myself as Michael Keaton did in 1996 municipality to get through my day. I'm having a difficult time keeping up. I don't remember that. I'll have to go back and check that out. I like Michael Keaton. He was a great actor. Oh, I follow personality, purposeful, and promotion. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, you got some personality. You got a little spunk in there, Joanne. So, but yeah, it's a little bit of fun learning, I think, from each other and then finding out ways, what can we do to make our business grow and get a little bit stronger and better. All right, so let me move on. We're almost done. I want to share this last one with you guys for your profile for your business page. Similar to your profile, you want to do links and banners. Make sure that you have your website or your lead magnet listed right there. And then even getting into your website landing page, having that magnet there, and then doing some key photos of events, offers, things that you have going on in that section also. And number six, or number five again, posting Facebook stories daily, doing weekly reels, things that are exciting. And the big thing is just add value in your posts. Don't just post to post, like, oh, I got to put it in there. Have it value packed. And that's why knowing what you're doing, how you're going to do it are important before you even get started. And that will actually save a lot of time, but reduce your stress load when you're trying to push all this stuff up. All right, so a couple more things. This is what I want you to think of when you exit out of here. It's all about business dance moves. So think of who are some people that can maybe inspire you and what you can learn from them and customize it on your own. So somebody who I found recently, Daniel Presley. In fact, I couldn't even remember his name, but I had seen him on so many podcast interviews. It was like, wait a minute, what's this guy's name? Very knowledgeable. I learned a lot in just one little video from him. But this is the thing, like, not all the stuff he was saying was relative to me. And I am not a big agency that does 50 million a year. I think he might be 200 million a year in business. I'm a small little boutique agency in Michigan, and we help clients. I have clients in New York, Texas, California, of course here in Michigan, but I'm small. So some of the stuff he's doing is like, that's not going to work for me. I've got to adjust it, right? And at the same time, I couldn't afford to probably hire him because he probably would cost $100,000 a month, right? So a lot of us are in the spot of taking wisdom from some of the big players, but maybe not really getting the support to implement these great ideas, and that stinks. Or you don't have the skill set, or they're in a different league. And there's nothing wrong with being, a smaller company and to grow into things. But the point I'm trying to make is take these lessons that you learn from people like this Daniel Presley, adapt it to your own, customize it for you. Don't reinvent the wheel. Like, look at, okay, this is how this person does it, but what things make sense or don't make sense, and learn. And this is one of the ones, this is what I want to share with you, how he goes after getting additional business. He looks for leads, he does assessment forms, he does presentations twice a month, and then he focuses on sales, and he literally just repeats it. It's literally laps. He's constantly repeating it. But you can do that too in your own version of what's your lead magnet. What ways do you do assessments with your clients and present to them and do sales? So now I'm not coming here to share his strategy. I don't know it well enough, but what I'm trying to share with you is even I've been in marketing for over 20 years, but this is the thing. I'm constantly learning. And if you ever work with somebody ever in your life, I don't care if it's Elon Musk or whoever, if they're not learning, evolving, and growing, that may be somebody that you don't want to listen to. So they say that the average CEO reads something like 30 books a year. I don't do that. But I watch a lot of content. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, especially in my car. And I'm learning from these other people and then adapting into this works for me, this doesn't work for me, and sharing things that are relative to my clients and their business model. So the same thing with you, as you're going, as you wrap up this little video session that we did today, start to look at who are some people that could inspire you, like Barbara O'Neill, an amazing holistic nurse. What are some of the practices that she's doing? She's got so many people that are copying her stuff now. It's pretty pathetic. But what are some of the things that she's doing that work online and offline? And how can you adapt it to your business model? Or it could be somebody like, if you are in small business, like looking at like Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay, he's big time. He does Nike and all those big companies. But guess what? He has some incredible principles that are really relative to small business. You just got to make sure you can consume the F bombs because he drops them about every 30 seconds. So think about that when you get out of here. Who are some different people that you can get inspiration from and adapt what they've created into something that will be customized for you? And it's important to understand all of this is about recycling and improving. If you think you're going to get it right the first time, you're absolutely wrong. And I'm going to tell you, I worked in automotive prototype I was there for like 7 of my 10 years, constantly revamping, little tweaking, little fine tuning, like the smallest little hair of a change that could make a whole design go wrong or make a whole design go right. So go back and look at what are the things that are working for you and make your adjustments and be comfortable making labs, but just measure it. All right. So this is something I want to give you guys really quick so that you can have a cool little giveaway takeaway when you get out of here. And this is to help you really simplify your path to learning how to research for new leads and to keep learning and growing because it is absolutely essential. But you got to make sure you don't get into that spot where all you're doing is learning and not implementing. It's literally like juggling. You've got to throw one ball up and you got to catch it with the other hand. You can't do the I'm going to just do it. It's a little bit of a balancing act. So if you get a chance, take a quick snapshot of this and you'll see. I mean, it's some basic things to show you, what are the tools to help you with your product. Another one for quick ways to create content. That prompt could be, can you suggest 10 efficient methods to create engaging content quickly for Facebook or my blog or my podcast or YouTube. Include a description of each method. Put that into Chat GPT. It's going to blow your mind. It'll be like 1 week of research done in 5 seconds. Another one, lead generation. What are the proven strategies for quality leads? Specifically for, and then you could put in your industry. And then there's some other ones too for engagement and your marketing data prompts or your video marketing prompts. So take a quick screenshot of that. Definitely keep that. If you took this one little sheet that I made here for you and you started with Chat GP today and you went through 1 through 6 of those questions, you would quite literally have your entire game plan ready to roll out for what you're marketing for this next week, month, or quarter or year. And now is the time to get in. Like don't wait till later. Now is the time. So if you want to fast track your marketing strategy, schedule a consultation with me. Really simple. You can go to that Calendly link, calendly.com, Elizabeth Morosco /30 minute, or you can scan this QR code real quick, scan it with your phone, and schedule a complimentary consultation with me. I'll be able to give you some insight on things that are working currently in my business, but more importantly, to hear from you on what are your struggles, what are your hangups. Sometimes it's one minor little thing that you have to do to push that needle over. But the truth is, this is the truth. A lot of times, it's one little needle is the one that they just like, I'm not going to push it. And it could be fear, insecurity, lack of knowing. It's usually not laziness. It's usually, a lot of times, it's fear or being uncomfortable or maybe even needing to get a new skill set so that you can push that thing to the next level. And you can do it, you guys. I have seen so many clients win and succeed. And, I'm not a fly by night company. I've been here for 2 decades. I'm not going anywhere. I'm learning, growing, I'm adapting, I'm figuring out my Fosse moves. I might not be the next Michael Jackson, but I can come up with a couple of moves that I learned from other people and adapt as my own. So, that's the beautiful thing about the United States of America. That's the thing that I love about this country. And I think it's one of the things that makes our country amazing is the innovation that we bring, the ways that we look at things differently than other people and figure out how can we improve it. And a lot of times what happens is it's people that come up with these ideas, then they outsource, have other people help them implement it. So find out where's your little American spark at? What are you going to do that's going to be a different version of an already legend, but spinning it with your spin on it? How do you improve it? How can you make it more authentically you? How can you personalize it and create these connections? Um, so wait, what did you say right here? Liz, can you put that last slide up for a minute? I wonder which slide you're talking about. This one? Oh, yeah, here you go. There you go, darling. It's the Chat GPT. Yeah. In fact, Joanne, you don't have to worry about it too much because after we get done here, I'm gonna send out a email that has I have a total of I think it was 15 different prompts for doing research and generating leads. I'll send those over to you. And I think the big thing is you gotta get comfortable with this Chat GPT. I know some people are afraid. I totally get it. I get it. I get it. But AI has a lot of potential that can save time. And while you're sitting here trying to figure it out, instead of being in fear, do yourself a favor. Just practice, play with it, and you might discover it's not as scary as you thought. You know, there was this show my mom used to like to watch called Father Brown. And in it, there was this one scene where the lady ended up having her cleaning lady was refusing to pick up the phones. Now, this was like back in the 20s or something like that, and she refused to pick up the phone because she was told that it was evil, like don't pick up the phone, it was demonic or something like that. So she just kept refusing to pick up this phone. And anyhow, she ended up finally get oh no, it wasn't Father Brown, it was the show Mrs. Fisher. So Mrs. Fisher finally told her, no, you've got to pick up that phone. Like, you can't keep this job. If you won't pick up the phone, you can't keep the job. So the girl finally picked up the phone, but she had been filled with so much fear because it was new technology. Like, we laugh at it now, but think about it. Like, back then when they didn't have these things and before their advanced technology was a telegram, so get into this comfort zone where you're like, hey, let me dabble with this a little bit. Don't do anything psychotic, but just something simple. And then we have, oh my gosh, hey, Tech Trouble. Roy's in the house. Good to see you. You're not a big fan of, oh, you're probably, are you talking about Gary Vaynerchuk? I'm thinking I'm not a big fan of him. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a potty mouth. People either love him or they hate him. Oh, and hey, Chris. Hi, Chris. Happy belated birthday, buddy. I hope you had a good one. All right, so that is about all I have for you guys today. So if you get some time, schedule a complimentary consultation. Let's go through your marketing and figure out what we can do to make an amazing wrap up for 2024 and to prepare for some awesome things to happen in this upcoming year. I'm ready. We'll get some good stuff happening. All right, you guys. I appreciate you so much. And then let's get ready for Christmas. We'll be chatting about that pretty soon. The holiday season's coming up, so let's get ready to go have some fun. All right, you guys, in the meantime, have an absolutely fabulous Saturday afternoon. Enjoy yourself. In the meantime, be good, be happy, and most definitely be blessed. Bye, guys.